Good morning, and welcome to the Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I'm Margaret English. My pronouns are she and her. And I'm joined today by a wonderful team of people who put this service together. There's our minister, Reverend Barbara Koyman, Ted Koriath, who is our music director, And he is accompanied by Grace Stringfellow, who plays the oboe and is also helping Amy with the vocals. Amy Austin is our hymn leader, and people on the tech team are Deborah Mensch, Paula Zimmerman, Kathy Partridge. This morning, I invite you to really take in these welcoming words and imagine how it might change the way you interact with people you are just getting to know. Unitarian Universalism is a liberal religion that embraces theological diversity. We have no dogma or creed. Rather, we encourage each person to explore his or her unique spiritual path using a variety of sources, including religious teachings, science, meditation, and the arts. While our beliefs span the shared values and principles, the religious spectrum, we're held together by a support for each other's search for truth and meaning, our shared values and principles, and our commitment to social justice. Are you, as you are welcome here. Visitor, friend, or longtime member, you're welcome here. With family, or your partner, or alone, we joyfully welcome you here. You are welcome here as a believer or doubter, as a joiner or loner. You are welcome here. Full of energy or not, seeking a vision or a rest, you are welcome to join us just as you are. You're all welcome here today. No matter how long you are away or how soon you will return, you are welcome here. Whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears, you are welcome here. You are invited to join us with a curious mind, very important, a loving heart, and a willing spirit. We welcome you. We have many opportunities for social connection and spiritual growth, and you can find more about that at our table out past the doors. You can also stop and get information if you want to be a newcomer and receive more information. If you're interested in an order of service today, the QR code is up there, and you can use your telephone to what do you call it? Scan it, yeah. I'm not used to those QR codes. If you would like to view a simple order of service, that's how you do it. Our book for sharing joys and concerns is in the back, just next to the tech table. Please write a brief personal note about what is in your heart today, and you may mark whether you would like us to read it aloud today, later, or you may share anonymously by not writing down your name. But if you would like to be contacted by a lay pastoral care or neighborhood connector, please complete the form fully with your contact information. Our Sunday support person this morning is Mazia Chartera, wearing the white stole, waving, and she will be at the welcome desk and available for pastoral care after the service. Everyone on Zoom is welcome to stay for casual conversation following the service. If you are here in person, today you are welcome to a coffee hour in the fellowship hall. If you're joining us on Zoom, please feel free to greet each other in the Zoom chat. And if you're a newcomer, let us know so we can greet you. We'd love to know who is among us. Those of you in the sanctuary, take a moment to greet your neighbor, or maybe more than a moment.
morning to everyone. Good to see everyone this morning. Good morning to everyone. I'm Reverend Barbara, the minister of this congregation. My pronouns are she and her. In our Unitarian Universalist tradition, we light our chalice, the symbol of our faith. Let us join together in our chalice lighting words as Margaret engages the flame. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, my friends, welcome. Welcome to this place, a place where hope can be nourished. In a world that profits from despair, our gathering is a declaration of faith. We declare that joy still rises, that kindness still matters, that hope is not dead. We come to remember that we are not alone. May our time together this morning restore us to wonder, strengthen our resolve, and return us back into the world as bearers of hope that sustain the work of resistance. Come, my friends, let us be together in community this morning here in this room and online, and be glad. Amy is going to tell us about the opening hymn.
Okay, so this is another chance for choreography, and I am going to have you all come back up on here in the stage with me. So we're going to sing, obviously, but we're also going to clap, we're going to hum, we're going to snap, we're even going to swim, okay? We're going to do some stomping, that one's my favorite, and then we're going to hush, then we're going to sing again, okay? Believe me, you can do it. So come on up. This is a Rafi sim. Sure, rise, body, spirit, whatever. You gotta sing when the spirit says sing. You gotta sing when the spirit says sing. When the spirit says sing, you gotta sing right along. Sing when the spirit says sing. Okay, here we go. You gotta clap when the spirit says clap. You gotta clap when the spirit says clap. When the spirit says clap, you gotta clap along. Clap when the spirit says clap. You ready? You gotta snap when the spirit says snap. You gotta snap when the spirit says snap. When the spirit says snap, you gotta snap right along. Snap when the spirit says snap. You gotta swim when the spirit says swim. Faster. You gotta swim when the spirit says swim. You gotta swim right along. Gotta swim right along. Swim when the spirit says swim. Okay, now it's time for my favorite. You gotta stop when the spirit says stop. You gotta stop when the spirit says stop. When the spirit says stop, you gotta stop right along. Stop when the spirit says stop. And of course, should be followed up by you gotta hush when the spirit says hush. You gotta hush when the spirit says hush. When the spirit says hush, you gotta hush right along. Hush when the spirit says hush. You gotta sing when the spirit says sing. You gotta sing when the spirit says sing. When the spirit says sing, you gotta sing right along. Sing when the spirit says sing. When the spirit says sing, you gotta sing right along. Sing where the spirit says sing. Bravo. You're now invited to either go to the Wonder Lab or to stay here as you choose. And are we singing?
Yeah, we're going to sing the Young and Young at Heart out as we make our way
That's
to
right.
Wonder Lab.
Okay,
All right,
here we go.
here we go. You've got the light of love inside you. Go on your way in peace. So shine that light, this whole world awaits you. Go on your way in peace. You know we hold you, we hold you, we hold you, we hold you. You've got the light of love inside you. Go on your way in peace. That was a quick exit. I was prepared to sing it again, but we don't need to.
Our theme for this month is resistance. And it feels right now that like there are many things we need to resist. I don't know if I can get agreement on that, but here are some that I really feel strongly about. Many of the freedoms that we fought for so hard for, my generation anyway, abortion, women's rights, those kinds of things, are threatened right now. So I spend my time thinking, what can I do about this? And thus relieve my worry. What pops into my mind is an old song about losing a relationship. I've lost a relationship with America. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. And in many ways it's true. Buddhism teaches us that our attachments are what cause us suffering. We meditate to let go of those attachments. We have been so steeped in the permanence of our laws and cultural norms, which accept difference, prize individualism, and help the helpless, that it hurts to see those norms changing. By fiat, actually. So to feel free, I have to lose some things about my life that I have valued. Here are some of the things on my list. First, the image of the US as a country welcoming to immigrants. Second, the image of laws protecting everyone in this country, including me, from unfair practices. Third, my sense of safety if I choose to demonstrate, write a letter to my representatives, or invite someone who is being threatened into my life and my home. But here's the rub. I'm probably as old as many of you in this congregation, and that limits my physical abilities. I've already lost those. Also, I have no job from which I could be fired. I have a pension that I hope I can live on, but that would probably be the worst loss for me. I can offer some financial help to different causes, but I'm not sure money means that much, having witnessed all my preferred and supported candidates or issues go down to defeat. But I have some savings and investments, and so I could probably last through the presidential term on those. I wouldn't have to lose my church community, thank heavens, as I think, as far as I know, we're all on the same page. So I turn to a couple of ideas I've heard lately. The first is from an interview with Michelle Obama, when she is asked what black girls should do to change the increasingly racist and sexist culture. She turned to her audience and said, vote, and study the issues to be a good voter. The second is from Brad Onishi, who has a podcast and wrote a book titled Preparing for War, The Extremist History of White Christian Nationalism, and What Comes Next. He said, have joy. And so my New Year's resolutions are to live joyously, because I have reached a point in my life where I have not much to lose, And then keep up with the policies and the people that support the values that are reflected in a quote on my refrigerator. A civil society is a manner of living that strives to include as few terrible things as possible.
My friends, we come now to the personal, the sharing of joys and concerns and prayers for the world in this service. And just a reminder for folks online, if you have a joy or concern, please add it to the Zoom so that we may read it in a few minutes. Let us come together in a spirit of prayer, meditation, and intentional focus, settling into your seats in whatever way it invites you to go deeper right now, into the personal, into your heart. As we speak to Spirit of Life, in this new year, may we leave behind the weight of unfulfilled resolutions, of unrealized dreams, and of unrealistic expectations. May we unpack the heavy weight of stories that tell us we are unworthy and unlovable. May we remember that we each carry inside of us a spark of the divine. In this new year, may we carry kindness, gentleness, and hope that hold us through even the hardest days and the most daunting tasks. May we carry the wisdom to seek rest and connection, to lean into mutual care. May we carry purpose lightly, trusting that it changes and evolves and surprises us. May we carry curiosity, wonder, and the ability to be surprised. May we carry all these prayers and hopes and carry each other into the new year. Amen. And Great Spirit, in our world right now, in our world so seemingly rocked in turmoil, may we pray and wish and work for peace in this world, especially in light of the recent invasion of our country into another country. May we hope for the best resolution, the least confrontational resolution for the current situation of our entering another country. May we also hope for peace in ongoing discussions, peace talks over Ukraine. May we wish that finally there can be some peace to this country as well. And we send our heartfelt support to the citizens of Switzerland on the heels of a horrendous fire and massive injury and death on New Year's Eve at a ski resort. In our own communities, we remember to hold each other in our hearts. Each of us in this room is connected. Just by being here this morning, we are connected to one another. Let us remember to look in the eye of the other, remembering what may be lying deep within their hearts that they may not have articulated. Let us be kind to one another. And finally, we drop one more stone for those unspoken joys and concerns which may not even have risen to your awareness yet, but for these we honor all that is in your hearts and in your souls in that still small voice. Friends, let's take a few more seconds of meditation to think on all these joys and concerns we've heard this morning, holding one another in love and in care. And then either continuing your meditation or singing along, let us join together in Spirit of Life, our pastoral hymn. Spirit of life, come unto me. Amen, and blessed be.
Each week, we remind ourselves of the abundance of our lives and the community by giving a half plate away to those organizations that share our values. This week, our half plate will go to the Gilbert Fund, BVUUF's Social Justice Reserve. These funds support our ongoing efforts across many areas of our fellowship life, and the fund is now depleted. And Sunday's half plate, this Sunday, will help replenish it to support future projects, including the upcoming film series. Other activities have included the No Kings protest, the Crop Hunger Walk, Ukrainian citizens, hosting the Arapaho and Southern Cheyenne delegations, and the Youth Spaces Project, the Latinx Youth Support Group. Our work towards democracy and justice for all are more successful because of your generosity.
The morning offering will now be gratefully given and received. We have so much giving this morning, we're not ready yet. For the work and witness of this congregation and the Gilbert Fund, your contributions, your generosity is gratefully received. Thank you. Thank you, Ben. Thank you. This morning, as a reading, I'd like to invite a responsive reading. It's from the back of the gray hymnal. If you wish to turn there, it's 544 in the gray hymnal. The words are also on the screen. Is 514. Typo, thank you. 514. I will read the regular type, and Tad will lead the congregation in the italic type. Let's join together in reading about the new year. The 1st of January is another day dawning. The sun rises as the sun always rises, the earth moving in its rhythms.
With or without our calendars to name a certain day as the day of new beginning, separating the old from the new.
So it is. Everything is the same, bound into its history, as we ourselves are bound.
Yet also we stand at a threshold. The new year, something truly new, still unformed, leaving a stunning power in our hands.
What shall we do with this great gift of time this year?
Let us begin by remembering that whatever justice, whatever peace and wholeness might bloom in our world this year.
We are the hearts and minds, the hands and feet, the embodiment of all the best visions of our people.
The new year can be new ground for the seeds of our dreams.
Let us take the step forward together onto new ground.
Planting our dreams well, faithfully and in joy.
Words by my colleague, the Reverend Kathleen McTeague. So, Happy New Year, everyone, and best wishes for 2026. Love you, Ben. Love you. This is the time of the year when we tend to be future-oriented. As our reading just said, we stand at a threshold. The new year, something truly new, still unformed, leaving a stunning power in our hands. What a threshold we are on right now, given this year we've just come through. On the political front, and for many of you on personal fronts, with both joys and heartaches, loss of loved ones, health challenges, financial setbacks. During the darkening through December, our worship and our Soul Matters programs encourage us to hold fast to hope. Now on this threshold of the new year, we can continue to find inspiration drawing on Mother Earth as she tends toward new light and new life. So I'm wondering, at this time of the year, how many of us make New Year resolutions, which usually include new ways of doing and being as we go forward? How many of you tend to make New Year's resolutions? Oh, not so many. Oh, okay. I may have to rework this sermon a bit. If you've made resolutions in the past, think back on what they look like. Just take a second to think back on what you might have done in the past. Often, New Year's resolutions are expressed as discrete actions and habits, perhaps functional or practical promises, such as to eat a healthier diet, or donate more time and dollars to important social justice causes, or to get more sleep. How about that one? Good resolution? Yeah. If you are someone who makes New Year's resolutions, I wonder how it's going here on the cusp of 2026. Perhaps you're feeling gloomy effects from events in 2025 and wondering what sort of resolutions you can make that will make any difference. In some of the articles and reports and podcasts assessing the year that just ended that I've just read, it's clear that many voters are disillusioned, saying that leaders just aren't listening to them and their needs. So why even bother with positive resolve for going forward? Or perhaps you still have faith in making New Year's resolutions, which probably start out well and good, but then you fall short on follow-through. Perhaps you even decide that this practice of resolutions is actually bunk. It just doesn't work. You abandon your resolutions. My daughter is a personal workout coach. She usually anticipates that January will be her busiest month, as clients honor their resolutions to get in better shape. Then she can also predict how many weeks in it will be before many clients drop out, drop out of their workout programs, and abandon the resolutions they initiated. So if you are experiencing particular challenges in identifying positive resolutions for 2026 and sticking to them, perhaps 2 additional lenses on the more traditional concept of New Year's resolutions might expand your trust in your own agency to influence this unavoidable truth that time does move forward. We can't do anything about it. Time goes forward, and so must we. Let's consider how both intentions and imagination can expand our capacity to shape life-giving commitments for going forward. During the holidays between Christmas and New Year, I often attend a certain spiritual retreat for renewal after busy holidays and for creative looking ahead to the coming year. In this retreat, we look ahead not through the usual lens of resolutions, instead with a mindset of intentions. While resolutions are often more functional in design, a sense of intentions can invite us into deeper inward exploration and examination, to explore our authentic selves and how we want to live out that self in the coming year. Intentions tend to take us deeper. The concept of intentions, it's more organic to our souls, to who we are. Now, I don't want to imply value judgment. Both the more functional resolutions and intentions are important. Don't defer from more workaday New Year's resolutions. But I do suggest the benefits of a deeper context on which to ground your resolutions. And if this word intentions doesn't work for you, perhaps find your own alternate word other than resolutions to explain and expand your own agency to identify your hopes for going forward in the coming year. For me and for others at those retreats that I go to, seeing our New Year's resolutions and brainstorming as New Year's intentions also feels like spiritual practice, more like a spiritual blueprint, in the words of one author, rather than only an itinerary for concrete actions or events. For me, a sense of intentions comes with emotional and spiritual qualities, such as love or peace or joy. At those New Year's retreats, our practice is also to write down our intentions in words or visual images, and also to tell one another our intentions. In my experience, if you tell somebody else something you're promising, there's more likely that you're going to stick to it because others have heard your wishes. So I just invite you to think on vocalizing any promises you're making for the new year. Perhaps after the service, vocalize those to someone. Tell someone else what you're hoping in 2026, positive hopes especially. So in addition to this new label of intentions I'm suggesting, including a sense of imagination as you vision your hopes for the future expands what's possible. Imagination, that capacity to create a mental image of something never before experienced in reality. Imagination can open up new dimensions of what's possible. Imagination can get us out of ruts we may have fallen into and help us resist doing things in the new year in the same way we have always done them in the past. Imagination can override frustrations that things will never or should never change. Approaching New Year's intentions with joyful imagination, we open up many new creative ways of going forward. Imagination invites creativity for what's possible, perhaps beyond our wildest expectations. I borrow a story about imagination from one of my colleagues. After a fire, 3 bricklayers were rebuilding St. Paul's Cathedral in London, brick by single brick. When asked what they were doing, the first bricklayer explained their intention as functional, saying, "I am laying bricks." The second bricklayer responded more contextually by saying they were putting up a wall. The third, inspired by imagination, said, "I am building a cathedral to God." 3 different perspectives, defined by 3 different intentions for their work. With imagination as a guide, the third bricklayer's repetitive laying of bricks became a work of great creativity. Imagine you are looking ahead in this new year, my friends, to carry on this same sense of imagination and creativity, and with it then more connection and love for others. Well, perhaps invoking imagination for some of you signals some sort of fantasy or unreality, which you might dismiss as unsubstantial or perhaps of little value to be in that fantasy world. However, there is another dimension to imagination, which invites us to expand all the more our visions, our hopes. Granted, sometimes imaginative thinking outside the box might not yield a substantial outcome. But just the act of imagination alone can be transformative. When we are open to imagination, we find the capacity to create mental images of what may not be actual, but through imagining, we expand our horizons for activities, relationships, community life, and so much more. A spiritual practice of imagination invites us to locate our intentions in places out of those usual boxes and the usual ways of doing things. So take the topic of diet, which I expect came to mind for many of you when I first mentioned New Year's resolutions. A resolution to take on new eating habits to lose weight is a good thing. But if this approach to losing weight means sacrificing specific foods we enjoy, for me at least, good chance that I will break my resolution pretty early on and indulge just once in that food, which of course then leads a few days later to just once again in an indulgence, and then a few days later and a few days later. And then seeing no change on the scale, I will probably eventually give up, concluding that New Year's resolutions don't work. Anybody relate to this? So Ben, maybe an alternative. Instead, if we adopt an approach which helps us internalize new understandings of how our bodies process food, for example, and then imagine overall improvements to our health, we have much more chance of success in losing weight. Having tried so many diets in the past, focus on avoiding specific foods, diets which just didn't work. Several years ago, I followed a different program that reoriented my understanding of the effects of sugar and carbs on my body. Sugar and carbs just do weird things sometimes to my body parts. It's amazing. I made deeper systemic changes in my eating habits, which by now are embedded in who I am. Now, when I pass up chocolate cake, it's not from a sense of sacrifice or deprivation. Instead, from a broader, more authentic intention of declining foods which are not the best for my body type. That is, my intention to minimize carbs and sugar has proven much more effective than my resolution to pass on chocolate cake. As an interim minister, I urge congregations to employ intentionality and imagination during transitioning ministry. Because transitioning time comes on the heels of change in congregational leadership, a congregation, by definition, will not do things the way they've always done them. Being intentional about new decisions, new activities, new relationships is essential. Such intentionality, complemented by unbridled imagination, suggests a congregation and helps a congregation in discerning whether to continue habits and practices of the past or to pursue new options for new approaches and new attitudes. During a transitioning ministry, it is important to expand visions for what's possible. But more broadly, isn't imagination and intentionality core to Unitarian Universalist identity? We have many models in UU history to illustrate. Consider our foremothers and our forefathers of the past centuries. They needed both imagination and bold intentions to create different visions for religious life. So to resist the Calvinist theology, which advanced predestination, that only some of us get into heaven, our Universalist ancestors imagined a heaven available to everyone. Or those who were called to resist the top-down authority of Catholic governance. Our Unitarian predecessors imagined the presence of divinity within each of us, not externally ruling over us. That intentional and imaginative thinking outside the box by a prominent minister, theologian, and social activist, Reverend A. Paul Davies, single-handedly accounts for the growth of free religion in the greater Washington, D.C. area in the second half of the 20th century. How many folks have been involved in UUism back east in the greater Washington area at all? How many of you? Some of you? Okay, good. Perhaps you're already acquainted with this story. In mid-century, Reverend Davies was minister of All Souls Church, the primary Unitarian church in D.C. His intention and his imagination for the growth of liberal faith led to his planting 5 other congregations in the 1950s and the 1960s. And for you who have been back east, this was Arlington, Cedar Lane, Paint Branch Congregation, Mount Vernon, and what is today called Davies Memorial Church, for any of you who have been back east. And then, not content with just 5 new plants, he followed with 3 more in the next generation of plants in Fairfax, Rockville, and River Road congregations, which then led to yet a 3rd generation of new plants, including the congregation in Reston, Virginia, where I served as interim for 3 years. I felt like I was part of this lovely, lovely generation building of Unitarian Universalism. I wonder, perhaps Reverend Davies knew that bricklayer in London several centuries ago. His ministry of outreach was also building a cathedral for Unitarian Universalism. And by the way, if you are enticed to learn more about your UU ancestors, I offer this final call. We are starting a UU history class this coming Tuesday. Registration closes tomorrow at noon. If you'd like more information, speak to me after the service, and I can tell you more. But registration closes at noon tomorrow. So I want to leave you with yet one more story about intention and imagination. I've told this story before to some of you. The British show Call the Midwife is a program which touchingly depicts healthcare in East London in the mid-20th century. They broadcast a Christmas special every year, including just 10 days ago, two weeks ago. Several years ago, one of the Christmas stories focused on Nurse Phyllis Crane, a woman of middle age, totally devoted to her patients. Her life centered around nursing and midwifery. In that show, the ringmaster of a traveling circus, which somehow set up its big top in the middle of East London at Christmas time. You know, sometimes it's better not to analyze imagination in these shows, but somehow the circus came to East London at Christmas time. The ringmaster of that circus required some emergency medical care. Nurse Crane responded, and in the course of caring for the ringmaster, she mentioned that she'd always dreamed of being a trapeze artist. For that experience of flying through the air, high above the ground, in shimmering sequence costumes. She knew that dream would never come true, especially at her age. She could not risk such daring. In response, even though plagued by his own illness, the ringmaster surprised her with a glittery costume, complete with tiara, so to be properly attired for a ride on the Big Top's trapeze. Nurse Crane resisted her usual impulse to accept the status quo. Her dream of flying above the crowd came true, if only for a few minutes. And with the security of several safety harnesses, she was well strapped in. If she had never imagined what it would be like to fly and dared to risk telling her dream to others, she would never have realized the dream, which also brought tremendous joy to that ringmaster. What intentions will you declare for yourself going forward in 2026 and beyond? What trapezes would you consider trying out for new connections and new activities? How might you be the bricklayer for this fellowship and for liberal religion in this greater Metro Denver area? How will you create spaces which invite others in? Spaces in which the invitation to fly is both available and doable through your commitment and cooperation. There's many possible ways in this congregation to assess your capacity to resist doing things the way you always have in the past. For one, for the last worship service in January, it is our intention to feature members of the Social Justice Council talking about their roles of resistance in this community in social justice work. And they will invite you to resist any assumptions that you, of yourself, don't have any time to get involved in social justice. They will invite you to resist the usual of not being involved, to come on board. Then in February begins the 2026 Stewardship Drive, when you will be invited to assess your giving of time, talents, and treasures, perhaps with motivation to give to this congregation just a little bit more than you have in the past. Finally, a plug for the Circles of Trust program, which I'll offer again in February and March, based on the invitation to turn to wonder and curiosity as your spiritual practice. Stay tuned for more information on that. And then through this all, each of us is invited to offer support to the ministerial search team as they consider applicants for their important intention of inviting a new ordained clergy as the next minister of this congregation. My friends, if you have made New Year's resolutions, I wish you well in fulfilling them. I also invite you to consider New Year's intentions, deep, imaginative commitments in your personal lives, in the life of this congregation, and in your relationships with the wider world. In the words of our responsive reading, let us take the step forward together, onto new ground, planting our dreams well, faithfully, and in joy. Let us intentionally, my friends, move forward into 2026 with love justice-making, and imagination. May all this be so. Thank you, Tad. So, my friends, we go out singing again together and indeed building a new way. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit. In the teal hymnal, it's number 1017. The words will be on the screen for looking forward, building a new way. Body or spirit for our benediction, for our extinguishing the chalice. I'm out of rhythm here. Margaret will extinguish the light and we will review the words. We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, nor the energy of action. These we carry in our hearts until we meet. And now we offer the benediction, the all-church covenant. Let us read our new congregational covenant together. We covenant to be a fellowship welcoming to all, where our differences are a source of deep learning and spiritual growth. We strive to promote love, reason, and respect as we work together to build a just, compassionate world. My friends, I invite you to resume your seats. We have some announcements. Welcome, Rex Loker.
I know you're all waiting for these. My name is Rex Loker. I'm a member of the Council of Shared Ministries. My pronouns are he and him. So we have two announcements today. One is the first of our concert series of the new year. Rupert waits in our sanctuary next Friday, January 9th at 7:30. He's an award-winning folk artist with 14 acclaimed albums, including a 2025 release, Father to the Man. He blends astonishing finger picking, we've seen that here before, with cinematic storytelling. Probably never in that combination, but I invite you. These concerts are great, and it's a special treat to be here in this sanctuary with your friends, hearing artists that are acclaimed. He's from the Oxford to the American folk scene. His melodic blend of art folk is a hypnotic listening experience. Is that your quote?
It's AI's quote.
Okay. You don't want to miss that. For tickets, check the Connections Weekly or scan the QR code up there. They can be purchased the day of, and there is a pay-as-you-can available. Secondly, and a really exciting announcement, the ministerial search team is pleased to announce we've received applications from ministerial candidates. That sounds like plural, that's a good thing. Most of the search team's work from here on out will be confidential, but we'll update the timeline to keep everyone informed. Happy New Year. And finally, continuing the special treat, we invite you to stay for one more song. It's not a song, right? It's a tune, a piece from Grace and Tad.